Right. Hello, everyone. Here we are on the Higher Self Expo Facebook page for an introduction of one more of our wonderful speakers that are going to be with us on the 17th and 18th of July at our online conference, fourth conference so far. This has been created a year ago by Zane Daniel, and it's now going to be under the theme Where Science Meets Spirituality. So I'd like to welcome Louisa, who's going to be on in the European stream, because this will be going on 24 hours straight, which is quite unique, I suppose. I have never heard of a conference going on 24 hours straight. It will be starting in the US, then going on to Australia, and on the 18th in Europe, which is where Louisa is going to be featured. Louisa, thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Thanks so much for having me, Tanya. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. It really is.
Thank you very, very much. Louisa, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Louisa Tanner Munson, and I'm an astrologer. I haven't always been a professional astrologer. I kept it quite quiet for a while, but I've always been involved in the higher self type subjects pretty much my whole life, and professionally worked as a coach and a trainer and facilitator. I tried very hard to mask anything that seemed a little woo-woo or a little bit crazy for quite some time, but I've finally outed myself. So that's how you'll find me. I'm an astrologer, kind of an intuitive astrologer, and I'm also a coach.
So you've basically taken the woo-woo out of what you really are and decided to come out straight and transparent. This is who I am.
I'd like to say I came straight out, but in truth, I did it I did it gradually over time.
Bite sizes.
Yeah, bite-sized chunks so I didn't really scare myself. So it's like ripping plaster off really, really slowly. But yeah, I think I'm fully out now. What do you think? Do you think I'm out?
I do, definitely. What does it feel like now, like looking at what it used to be before and now that you are really in this surrender to what is basically your mission, your purpose, what fills your heart with joy?
Yeah, it's fantastic to be able to live in that way, where your heart feels full of joy. It feels great that I can really be myself. And also when I get feedback from people, I know that it's a job well done, because you just feel it in your heart. I'm not working for anybody else. I'm working for people that come to me. It's not like I'm working for a big business anymore. And it just feels really personalized. I can work when I want and how I work. And for that, I'm really, really grateful. And I come across some really amazing people as well. But it's finding yourself a way to feel safe so that you can find the courage of it. That was my biggest setback.
Yeah.
But now it just feels so liberating to, just to be able to express myself.
And so within that context of what you are now, a fully realized astrologer who brings her work out into the world with lots of passion, what will you be presenting at the Higher Self Expo?
Well, it's interesting, actually. The topic is astrology, where spirituality and science meet, because over the years, I've been kind of bridging the magical and the mundane. I guess that's how I think of the way I work. I try to appeal to people who maybe haven't come across astrology before, and also try to appeal to people who maybe have found the typical horoscope astrology, like you're a Libra, I'm a Sagittarius, and this is how it is. A lot of people find that a lot of people laugh at it and don't take it too seriously. And in fact, I don't take it that seriously either. So the way I practice is to lend credibility to astrology where possible. And so in the talk that I'm giving at the Higher Self Expo, I'm going to be looking at the science of astrology, how it comes about, the actual definite things that we can prove about it, that we draw our and how we blend our intuition with that scientific or mathematical information. There's a lot of patterns, there's a lot of sacred geometry underlying astrology, which I get very excited about. So I'm also going to be looking a lot at correlations and explaining how those work. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it, Tanya? I mean, if someone were to ask you about the science of what you do, science is such a kind of 3D concept. It's a very grounded concept, and what we do isn't necessarily is seen in that way. There are ways that we can analyze astrology, and so I'll be talking about the methods that we use, and hopefully be able to sort of inspire people to get a bit on board with it.
There was a time when kings used to have the astrologer for counseling, and even that the astrologer would be fundamental in the decisions that the kings made, or whether to go to war or not, or other things that were fundamental to the future of their reign and the popularity they had or not. And where did that stop? Like, just very briefly, where did that trust in astrology all of a sudden disappear?
Well, it's stopped a few times. If you go back in history, there are some definite times when the ruling ideas, or the ideas that people were allowed to have access to, have been like ring fenced. People have been protective of them. At one time, astrology and astronomy were the same thing. And in fact, every astronomer that I know knows how to calculate the position of the planets, actually using mathematics. We don't need to do that so much these days, because we've all got programs that do it for us. But astronomy does come into it. We might not all be astronomers, but we all know about the mathematical placements. But I'm guessing one of the reasons why it came out of knowledge is because of power and control. If everybody was able to realize that there are natural cycles in the cosmos that we can learn about, that we can interpret, and that we can then practically use, that takes away a certain amount of power from those that might want to tell us how things are, rather than allow us to be at choice. So I will be going through a little bit of the history of when astronomy and astrology split, or when they were forcibly split.
When they had to.
When they had to. It's a bit like medicine. When did herbs and healing come out of medicine? There's a lot of things that suddenly split. So I will be exploring that for sure.
I'm sure it will be very interesting.
Power and control. I definitely think that. One of the things I'm quite excited to talk about during this chat is about how if you learn about the science of astrology, if you learn about the patterns and the cycles that we all go through, we're all subject to, the next step of that, once you've got that knowledge, you can start putting it to really, really good use in your life, and you can start shaping your life. You can use it to make some great changes. So, for instance, if you're planning on when to launch a business, or when to get married, for instance, there are definite times that have very strong correlations for marital success or business success. And so you can plan your launch dates and your special dates in alignment with these times. So a bit about that.
Great. I'm sure it will be super interesting. We'll be listening.
Thanks. The thing is, there are so many different bits of evidence for astrology. That's the thing that most people say. One of the things that I hear people say, if they say that they're not into astrology, they say, "Oh, I'm not into astrology. I'm a scientist. I'm into science," and that's the standard thing that I hear the most. And it always fascinates me that it's actually based on astronomical details. It's actually
and so there is no gap.
It's based on the same thing. It's like the mathematical part, the astronomical part, is actually it's the fundamentals, it's the foundation of it. So yeah, it's going to be fun to explore.
Okay, brilliant. Now, if anyone goes to your website or to your pages, what will people find? What is it that you're offering at the moment? What would you like to let people know about your work?
Okay. There's a few things. What they'll probably learn immediately is that I'm bridging a couple of things, not just science and spirituality right now, but I'm bridging a few different styles. So I'm spending quite a lot of time considering coaching, using astrology to coach people. So a lot of people, when they come to see an astrologer, they are after first aid, like astrological first aid, like they've had an accident and they need attention straight away. So a lot of readings are like that. But where I find myself more these days is using astrology with customers to plan their lives. So you'll see quite a bit about membership. So I'm helping people learn more about their charts and working with them on a consistent basis to help them achieve stuff. But you'll also find that I've put together a practical astrology course for beginners. And if you also go to my YouTube channel, which is Louisa Tanner Munson, you'll also see the practical astrology course there. You can sign up for it and download. I think there's a couple of books that I've written that you can download and use. And basically, I just take you by the hand. I give you some guidance to learn about all the different parts of a birth chart. I don't teach you the maths part of it, funnily enough. I don't teach you the scientific part because actually we're very lucky that, you know, we can do everything online now. But I'm teaching you about the interpretive side so that you can start to learn astrology for yourself. So if you were to hunt me down, you can find me with the handle Louisa Tanner Munson or Feel Good Astrology. But if you were to find me, you would find that I'm teaching astrology. I've got astrology membership, which is a sort of coaching. It's an ongoing thing to help you achieve your goals. And the third thing is that I like to have a conversation or two with other like-minded people. So on my YouTube channel, there's a lot of interviews and chats with inspiring people like your good self. I've used the wrong hand to point at you there, but
yes, we have our enlightening. It's the other way. It's
that way. There we go.
There you are. Now we're right.
If you went to my channels, you'd also find my collaborations with other really cool people. So yeah. So I guess
we do have our monthly enlightening conversations, and this month of May we actually spoke about the Higher Self Expo and what's going on in there.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because actually you couldn't this whole conference could not have been organized at a more astrologically apt time for the conversation of where science and spirituality meet, because right now with the eclipses we're going through that are focused in the signs of Gemini and Sagittarius, one's about fact and information and the other's about context and meaning and beliefs. We are cosmically straddled between the two right now, so it's a really interesting conversation and it's so well timed. But I always find that's how it happens.
So basically it's the time for people to dive deeper into trusting their intuition, but embracing also the science of everything and realizing that there are not two different things. They just are together and collaborate in our reality to make things happen.
Absolutely. I think we've all been a little, I think we've had the wool pulled over our eyes a little bit to think that we have to choose between one way or one tendency. I know so many woo-woo people that love doing research. Now, what's more scientific than reading and learning about things? And then there are people that say, I believe this, and then they don't do any research because their minds are made up. So it's a really interesting time right now. And I'm very excited to be part of this huge shift. Really.
Yes. Me too. Thank you, Zane, for creating this platform, for starting to organize this Higher Self Expo, so that then you had this idea of creating a 24-hour straight conference. And then we other hosts here in Portugal, we are hosting the Europe thread. So it's me and Rui Vasquez from Live with Earth that are going to be hosting in Europe. And then we have Zane and Geraldine in the US, and we have Karen and Nicholas in Australia. So basically, it's all around the world. How cool is that? I'm so thankful to have been invited into this. Really thankful.
It's a really lovely, shift. It's a really lovely movement to be part of, for sure. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much, Louisa, for sharing your wisdom here with us. We are very honored, as I said. And we have a comment here, which it's we're not going to read it the whole thing because it's very big. But yeah, thank you for sharing. It's when does it stop? I don't know if you mean the conference itself, but it's 17th and 18th of July straight. It doesn't stop. You can not sleep if you want to and be on there. But if you mean something else, well, whatever. So thank you.
I'm really happy to answer that question, Katerina. If you want to post that to me in a private message on Facebook, I'll happily answer when I think things will stop shifting. I'm not entirely sure they're going to stop shifting just yet. I still see a lot of learning going on, but yeah, very, very happy to connect with you, and thanks for.
Well, shifting never stops, right? Because we're on the planet of permanent change.
Yes, we got Mercury retrograde coming up too, so.
Right. So thank you very much. And to all the people on the Higher Self Expo channels, see you soon with another interview on one of the threads, US, Europe, and Australia. And we will now wish you a very wonderful day. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.